We continue now at the top of Daf Kufchav Gimel and Beis Meseches Shabbos. This is Shabbos Daf 123b. The Gemara had a machlokus before between Rav Sheshes and Rav Nachman, whether a person is allowed to straighten the limbs of a baby on Shabbos. Is that considered a tikkun or not? Rav Sheshes said it's permitted. Rav Nachman said it was not permitted. And now the Gemara has a proof to Rav Nachman, apiktoizin b'Shabbos. You're not allowed to make apiktoizin on Shabbos. Rashi says apiktoizin lahaki. This was something that induced vomiting. Shosem mashkim, they would drink a certain drink, umeki, and would cause the person to vomit. V'lo l'refuah, this was not done for refuah purposes. Ela laharik esmeyav sheyuchal lecho v'lishtos hayom harbe. It was done to clear out the person's bowels in order that they can eat and drink more that day. They wanted to eat and drink a lot that day. That's what it says in Parachavis. Now, even though there's no problem of refuah that you may come to grind up samimonim to allow the refuah, because you're not doing it for refuah purposes, usr, it is still usr misham de misaken gavra, because it's a tikkun of the person. So you see that a tikkun of the person is a problem, and the same thing should be true by the baby. This is a support for the strict position of Rav Nachman. Rav Sheshes responds, Hasam lav orche, over there that's not a normal thing to do. Hacha orche, here it is a normal thing to do. Rashi says, Hacha orche vareu kamisha machilo mashkeu. Straightening out the limbs of a baby is no different than feeding the baby, giving the baby to drink, so it's going to be permitted. The apiktoizin case, already that's something not normal, that's why it's not allowed. Amar Rav Sheshes says, Minno amino lo, where can I bring a proof to my position? That's not, we learned in the Mishnah, Machat shal yad litol ba esakotz, you're allowed to use a needle to take out a thorn, so that also should have been a problem. If there's a problem of fixing a person, aren't you fixing the person? Rav Nachman responds to that, Hasam pocket over there, it's just deposited, Hachalo pocket here, it's really embedded in the baby, so it's more of a tikkun. Rashi here says, Little boss akotz alma tikune gavra b'midi delavla refuah deleka misham shchika samimonim shari. You see that if you're fixing a person in an issue which is not refuah related, it is permitted. And pocket hakotz hazeinu mechuberbo. This thorn is not attached. Alamufkod v'nosan sham. It's just deposited there. V'otzazu eno tikun. That's not called a tikun. Hachalo pocket v'dami l'malacha shemesadrun u'machnis l'makam chibur. Here you're putting the limbs into the area where they're supposed to be attached. That already really is a malacha of tikun. The Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Kana shel zeisim, if you have a rod that's used for olives, im yesh kesher barosho, if there's a knot at the top, or a cap at the top, mekabel tumah, then it receives tumah. V'im lav, and if not in mekabel tumah, it's not mekabel tumah. Bein kach uvein kach nitel b'Shabbos. Either way, it can be carried on Shabbos. It's not a problem of muksa. Rashi says, Kana shel zeisim lachar mesikosan sober b'maton v'shamnan mesaset b'sochan. After they used to gather the olives, they would put them all together into a pile, and the oil would gather. V'noach lotzes, and the oil would come out easily. V'yeshlo kana lahafchan bo v'livdok im kamru called sarchan. Then what you would do is you'd use this kana, this rod was used to turn them over to check if they were fully ready. If there was like a cap on top of this item, on top of this rod, mekabel tumah, then it's mekabel tumah. The kli ulefisha of barosho ktsas, that thickness in the top of it makes it already a kli. V'im lav lo dami lekli, but if it's just a straight rod, it's not similar to a kli. Of a gemar mefarish, the Gemara will explain everything here. In any case, the point of the Mishnah is that it's either way you can move it on Shabbos, even though there's a distinction if it has the cap, whether it is a kli or not. The Gemara says, Amai, why should it be tameh? Rashi says, Va'amai, ki yesh bo kesher barosho nihinami de kesher masri leimana. Even if you say the kesher makes it into a kli, miu pshute klietzu, it's still straight wooden kalim. It has no area for a receptacle. It can't contain anything. Shafilu chalu ein chalalu asur lekabel klum. Even if it is hollow, it's not made to receive anything. So the Gemara says, Amai, why should it be tameh? Pshute klietzu, it's pshute klietzu. Pshute klietzu, and mekabel tumah. The halacha is, in order for wooden kalim to mekabel tumah, they need to have a receptacle. They need to be made in order to hold something, and this is just a straight rod. So the Gemara continues, my time, what's the reason? Dumya de sak b'yinan, because there's a comparison between the wooden kalim and sackcloth. Again, it needs to have a receptacle area. So why in the world should it be tameh, even if it has a kesher barosho? Gemara says, Tana mishmeder Rav Nechemia, they taught in the name of Rav Nechemia, b'shosh mahapich b'zeisim hovcho v'roa, but when he turns over the olives, that cap at the top actually is a receptacle, and you look inside it to check to see how the olives are doing. Hovcho v'roa, b'chalal rosho shemeshtayer shom al yedei shupakak b'kesher min Hashem min azov min azeisim, ubodek bo im higiu latzor you're actually checking at the top. There is a little bit of a cavity there. There's a receptacle, and you can turn it over as you're going through the olives and check to see if it's ready to be gathered. V'zuhi lo kabola b'chalal shelo, that is receiving it in the cavity. V'im lav shein kesher barosha, without a kesher on top. Ein Hashem and nirashem, you can't see the oil. Mimnei sheino pakuk v'kulochal, because it's completely hollow. Hilkach lav l'kabel, who also you can't even receive anything. Then it's pshute klietz. In any case, it is certainly a vessel. The question is, does it have a receptacle or not? That's exactly the question the Gemara says. So either way, you can move it on Shabbos. The only question is whether it's makabel tumah, whether it has an area that's used as a receptacle. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Rabbi Yossi says, Kol ha-kelim nitolin. All kelim can be moved on Shabbos as long as it's a kli, it's not muksa. Chutz min hamasar hagodol v'yoset shel machresha, except the masar hagodol and the yoset shel machresha. Rashi explains masar hagodol megira gedola shasuya liktzos koros, basically a large saw. It's used to saw wood. V'yoset shel machresha hu kli godol ha'asoi kesakin shabo osin chorz shel telam. It's the blade when they plow a field. Telam hamana kultur abelaz kultur. Rashi explains these two items, the blade that's used for plowing and a large saw, those things the person is strict about where he keeps them. He puts them in a designated place and they're not used for anything else. So those items are muksa, but all other kelim, according to Rabbi Yossi, are not muksa. And the Gemara continues, Amar of Nachman says, Hai uchla de katzri, ki yaset shal machresha damya. The uchla de katzri is also muksa, just like the yaset shal machresha. Rashi says, uchla de katzre klei nechosha sa'asri kenafin nekavim. It was a copper utensil with a lot of holes in it. Vushal kovzim v'nosn ala begadim v'mezalef bo hamayim alein. He would use the holes to sprinkle water over begadim. It was used by people who did laundry, the launderers. V'yesh mefarshim shemegamrim mugmar mitachtav. Some people say it was used to scent the clothing. V'habegadim munachim olav. You put the clothing on top of this item. V'miskamrin derech hanekavim, and the scent came up through the holes. In any case, the point is that Rav Nachman is saying it's the same as the Yaset Shal Machresha. It's going to be muksa even according to the position of Rav Yossi. Amar Abaya says, Charba de Ushchafi, V'sakina de Ashkafta, V'chatzina de Nagrik, Yaset Shal Machresha Dami. These are also items, they're also treated like the Yaset Shal Machresha. Rashi says, Charba de Ushchafi, Sakin Shal Ratzonin. These are people, they use a knife, the people who make the shoes, they use a certain kind of a knife. V'sakina de Ashkafta, Sakin Shal Beis HaMakolin, Shakatzovin Mekatzin Babasar. Also a knife used by the butcher. Chatzina duluria, a carpenter's axe. Kol hani kapti alayo. All these things, the person is strict about them. Mishum de mefagmi, because they can be ruined. Umaksilu b'yadayim, so he actively makes the muksa. Again, so they have this status, just like the yasid shel machresha. The Gemara continues with a brayso. Taner Rabbanan, we learned in a brayso, barishona hayu amrim shlosha kelim nitalim b'Shabbos. Originally, they said there are only 3 kelim that you're allowed to carry on Shabbos. Miksoa shel devela, V'zuhama listeron shel kedera, v'sakin katana shel gabe ashulchan. Rashi says, what are these items? First of all, Rashi says, gimel kelim v'sulo. They originally said you can carry these 3 utensils, and that's it. Well, the kamer amrina, and later on we're going to say, Devimein Nechemya ben Chakalia b'bayis sheni gazru al tilto kol kelim. We're going to explain later that in the days of Nechemya ben Chakalia, during the times of the second Beis Hamikdash, they made a gezerah on moving all kelim. Because at that time, as we're going to see from the pasuk, at that time people were breaking Shabbos, they were mechal Shabbos, and they became very strict. So the original kelim that were allowed were miksoa izemel shemechatchin bo devela. This is also like it's a knife that you cut the pressed figs. Yaseu b'miksos metargaminan b'zemaleon. Zuam molistron is kaf gedola shemisalgam bo zuam shel kedera. It's a big spoon that you remove the bad parts of things that are cooking in a kedera, in a pot. V'saken cotton shechotchin bo lechem ubasar v'ochlin. That's a knife that's used during the eating process. That they allow dahani tadir and betashmish. They're so regularly used that they felt they had to allow those 3 kelim. Now that was the original leniency that they had. Hitiru v'chazru v'itiru v'chazru v'itiru. But then they started permitting, and again they started permitting more, and they started permitting more. The Brisa says, Ad she'amru kol ha-kelim nitolim b'Shabbos. Eventually they allowed people to carry all kelim on Shabbos, chutz min maser hagadol, v'yaset shel machresha, except the maser hagadol and the yaset shel machresha, as we just said in our Mishnah. So the Gemara now asks, Ma hitiru v'chazru v'hitiru v'chazru v'hitiru. What is this language that they allowed it, and they again allowed it, they again allowed it? So Amar Abaya says, Hitiru davar shemalachto leheter letzorech gufo. Originally, they allowed a kli that's used normally for a heter purpose. They allowed you to use it for that purpose, for a mutter purpose on Shabbos. Then they allowed you even to move it letzorach makomo because you need the place where the kli is. Then they allowed even something that's malachto le'isr if you use it for a heter purpose, but not just if you need the place. But even at this time, they only allowed kalim that could be moved with one hand, not kalim that needed to be moved with two hands. Until they eventually said, Kol kalim nitolim b'Shabbos, all kalim can be moved on Shabbos, even those that require two hands to move them, even kalim that are a little larger, are permitted to be moved. Amarle Rava, so Rava says to Abaya Mechti, let us see, Hitiru Katani, the languages they permitted. Mali letzorach gufo, mali letzorach makomo. Once they permit, you think they made a distinction between tzorach gufo and tzorach makomo. Rava does not like that in Abaya's stages of heter, you make a distinction that at one stage they allow tzorach gufo and not makomo, and then they allow makomo. Elomar Rava, rather Rava says, Hitiru davar shemalachto leheter bein letzorach gufo, bein letzorach makomo. Originally, they allowed a kli that was malacha, that normally was used for a malachas heter. They use that whether you're using it for a malachas heter or whether you need the makom. And then they eventually allowed it even if you just want to move it from the sun to the shade. Then they went ahead and permitted they said if it's something that's malachto le'isr, you can use it for a permitted purpose on Shabbos, or if you need the makom. But again, you cannot use it if you cannot move it if you're just moving it from the sun to the shade. But even at this point, they only allowed kalim that could be moved by one person, but not kalim that are so large that they require two people to move them. Not if it requires two people. Until they eventually said, all kalim can be moved on Shabbos, even if they're moved, or even if they require two people to move them. So the Gemara says, Eisvei Abaya. Abaya now asks the question. Meducha, it's said by the bowl that's used to grind the garlic. Yesh ba shum, if it has garlic, metaltlanosa, then you can move it. V'im lav, ein metaltlanosa. If not, you are not allowed to move it. So the implication here is, Rashi here explains, ein metaltlanosa, b'shalom l'didi. Abai says, look, I understand this Mishnah, ein metaltlanosa l'tzorach mekoma ka'amar, because it's saying you can't move it for l'tzorach mekoma. We have such a distinction. Ela l'didach amai, but according to you, what's going on over here by this meducha? What do they mean you're not allowed to move it? So the Gemara says, Hacha, b'mayaskin, and Rava will explain mechama l'tzel. What it means is, like Rava himself made a distinction and said that at a certain point you were allowed to move things, but not from the sun to the shade. That's what this Mishnah means. You're not allowed to move it from the sun to the shade. Similar question. Eisvei Abai asks again, V'shavin shem katzav olav basar. This was from the previous Amud. It said that if everybody agrees, Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel agree that if you've already used this oli in order to cut meat, she'asr l'taltalo, that you're not allowed to move it, you don't have the heter of simchas yontiv anymore, and everybody agrees at that point you can't move it anymore. So again, what do you mean you can't move it? Again, Rava will say, Hachanami mechamul etzel. It means you can't move it from the sun to the shade. Amar Reb Chanina says, Bimei Nechemya ben Chakalia Mishnazu, as we mentioned before, this Mishnah was learned in the days of Nechemya ben Chakalia, because it says, Bayamim Ohema Reisi B'Yehuda Dorchem Gitos B'Shabbos Umavim Ha'aremos. I see in those times, Nechemya says, I saw people in Yehuda were stepping in the Gitos, and they were bringing the Aremos, they were bringing the bundles, they were doing Malacha on Shabbos, and they were violating Shabbos, so we had to be more strict. Amar Rebbe Lazar says, Kanin umaklos klustro meducha. The Mishnayos that refer to Kanin, maklos, klustro, and the Bryce about meducha, kulan kodem hataras kalim nishnu. All of these teachings were taught before kalim were allowed. That's why they're so strict. We'll take a look at some of the Rashis. Hitiru latalta, they allowed you to move davar shikr malachta b'chol leheter, something that's normally used for mutter purposes in the weekdays. L'davar hamutter b'Shabbos hitiru latalta l'tzorach gufa. You can use it for something that's mutter on Shabbos. Im hutzrich l'shtamish b'gufa kli. You want to use the kli itself. Avalom yisham shortzach l'makom, but you can't move it if you need the makom. This was Abaya's position. V'chazru v'tiru aseilu l'tzorach makom. They eventually allowed it from makom. V'chazru v'tiru af misha malachta l'isr. Then they said even kli shemalachta l'isr is mutter. V'hutzrich lo b'Shabbos l'gufo l'malachas heter. But you want to use it for a mutter purpose on Shabbos. Umiu lo hutzrei l'tzorach makom. But they didn't yet allow it for makom, because you needed the place. All these kalim are permitted, except for the large, again, like we said before, the maser hagadol, the saw. That's not allowed at all. Hadar be lagabe Rabba de Amar Leel Kornishal Nafachim Shaninu the Davar Shemalachto Leisser Shari L'Tzarech Gufa. Now this Abaya who is saying this, he now holds like Rabba before. He's saying that he agrees with Rabba's position that if you have a hammer of the blacksmith, then even though it's a Malachto Leisser, it's allowed L'Tzarech Gufa. Amar le Rava Michli. Then Rava said to Abaye, let us see. L'tzorach hitiru b'pam rishona. That first time that they allow it, mali guvo mali makomo travay l'tzorach ninu. That's all. Whether you need to use the item or whether you need the place, that's all l'tzorach. Mechamo l'tzeil she'eno tzorach lo achshav lo legufa v'lo makomo. The reason why, according to Rava, moving it from the sun to the shade is a distinct category is because you're not even using the item and you're not even using the place of the item. You're just afraid it's going to break in the sun. That's a completely different kind of moving of an item. Then they needed another heter, kala kalim afilo gedolim, even large kalim. The difference is that if it's a kli shel heter, it can be even mecham l'tzel, even from the sun to the shade. If it's shel iser, according to Rava, it's only l'tzarech gufo makoma. So then again, as we read this Rashi, in metalton osav v'shlam l'didei metalton osav l'tzarech makoma kamer l'didach amai. Again, according to you, according to Abaye says, according to me, so it's not a problem because you're only you're not allowed to move it l'tzarech makoma. But according to you, what does this mean? So he said again, it's mecham l'tzel. Mishnah Zu. Now, it said that this Mishnah was learned in the days of Nehemiah ben Chakalia. Dela'el barishona hayuomrim gimel kalim v'sulo. He explains that before we said that there were only 3 kalim that could be moved and no others. Mishum dehavim ezalzlim b'shabbosos. That Mishnah which said you can only move 3 kalim and nothing else, that is only because you are being mezalzel in Shabbos. Tichsib bayomim ohema, because it said that in those days they were mezalzel in Shabbos. These are all various mishnayos, which again are learned in the times when they were very strict about muksa. Kodem hatar askelim minyan ha'achron shutru kulam l'tzorach gufan la'abaya u'l'rava af l'tzorach makom. It was all before they eventually allowed you to move all kalim l'tzorach gufan according to Abaya and all kalim even l'tzorach makom according to Rava. So now the Gemara goes through these various items. First Mishnah, Konin. What's Konin? Ditznan, we learn Lo Sidr HaKonin V'lo Nitilosan Doches HaShabbos. The rods that were used in the Beis HaMikdash, you're not allowed to move them on Shabbos. Rashi explains what that's talking about. Rashi says, Lo Sidr HaKonim Shayu Nosnin B'ma'areches Lechem HaPonim B'nchal L'chal L'afrid L'nikonis Aruch B'neim Shalo Yisafshu. They used to put rods, the Lechem HaPonim were arranged every week in the Beis HaMikdash. There were little rods in between the bread as they were stacked up so they shouldn't get moldy. Also taking those rods, Doches HaShabbos is not Doches Shabbos, Nichnas Be'erev Shabbos. You would have to come in on Friday and take away the rods. The next day you would do it without the rods, you would replace the bread. Only on Matzah Shabbos could you put the rods in. Zu nishnas kodem heter minyan arishon. This was obviously taught before they allowed you to move kalim. Da malachtan laheter, because this is a kli that's malachtan laheter. The kaser lula tzarach gufan, and we're not allowing you to move them even for a mutter purpose on Shabbos. Clearly, the Mishnah is learned before the heter of kalim. And what about maklos? What's that referring to? Ditznan, we learned maklos dakin chalokin hayusham umenicha aksefo v'akesef chavero v'tolo mafshe. This was talking about the Korban Pesach. They used to use these rods to hold up the Korban Pesach, and they could then strip the animal, strip the hide of the animal. So that again, that Rashi here says maklon dakin v'chalokin hayu ba'azar v'pesach shechol liyos yodaled b'chol. On Pesach, if the 14th fell out on a weekday, so then when Shabbos came, they it says over here, they would not use it. Amar Rabbi Elazar says, "Our boss is shaholios b'Shabbos." If the 14th fell on Shabbos, meiniach. In other words, the point being, they would normally use these rods if it didn't fall out on Shabbos, as Rashi said. If cholios yodaled b'chol, if the 14th fell out on a weekday, they would have no problem using the rods. Obviously, it's not Shabbos. And then Rabbi Elazar says, if it fell out on Shabbos, you'd have a problem. Again, that's obviously going to be before. That's obviously going to be before the heter of kalim. And we'll continue this discussion in the next video on Daf Kuf Chav Daled Amud Aleph.